5 o'clock, March 26, 2026. It's time for the monthly meeting of the Bristol County Water Authority. Call the meeting to order. First, we'll find out if there's any public input, and I don't recognize anybody outside of staff here, so we'll move from public input and go on to approval of minutes. First ones we have are the Personnel Committee meeting minutes from February 26th.
Motion to be approved.
I have a motion to approve them.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm abstaining in all three since I wasn't at the meetings.
As well, here as well. Yeah.
Okay, on to the board meeting minutes from February 26th. We have a
Motion to be accepted. Second.
have a second. Any discussion? Any corrections? Hearing none, ask for a vote on the motion.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have abstentions, right?
Aye.
Okay. 2 abstentions. 2. And now on to the Finance Committee meeting minutes from March 11th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any comments, questions, corrections on those minutes? Hearing none, I ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have 2 abstentions. No, you were there.
I was
That's
there.
right. You were at that one.
One absent.
One abstention.
Okay, 1 abstention. Okay, now we'll move on to the Executive Director report. All right, Mr. Kutu.
Good evening, everybody. Report for this month. With respect to the Pawtucket Pipeline project, I have Data's monthly report attached, just to some highlights with respect to that project and what happened, what went on. We had a very productive meeting with Beta Group in the city of East Providence on March 6th, a design review workshop here. We met for quite some time, went over a lot of the details on the plans. And Beta's going to be preparing memos to us with respect to response to all of our comments. And we also received a considerable packet from East Providence's design reviewer, CDM Smith. And so those are review comments from them on the 90% plans. So we will also forward them, we'll review them and also forward them to Beta for their comments on their comments. We did get comments back from DEM Wetlands Group for the application that was submitted back in mid-December. Beta Group is reviewing those comments and will respond back to them appropriately. The applications for both the underground crossing at the northern extent to G&W Railroad, that was forwarded on March 5th, and they actually received a verbal approval on the occupancy license for that application from the railroad company. And the utility bridge application was submitted also just recently. So we were actually quite surprised to get the approval so quickly back from the railroad, so that was encouraging. Any other comments associated with that project at this point?
So that gives us, when the comments are cleared or they gave you approval, so that's at 100% then? So that package should be.
So that design package is complete. Yeah.
So that
for that crossing, yeah.
Right.
Right.
So, okay. 3 more to go.
Utility bridge, wetlands, DOT. We haven't heard back from DOT, although they're trying to get a meeting with DOT. They hope to get within the next week or so. Federal highway. There's still a few more. With respect to the new maintenance garage, that project is moving along quite well. They had their industrial equipment engineering team here on March 12th and 13th, looking at all the equipment needs, current and future equipment needs, and how that will spatially fit within the new building. We've also received some elevation concepts and layout plans that we're also reviewing, so that's moving along well. And Partners Work started work on the plans and specs for the demo of the former water treatment plant, and we expect to have those bid documents by end of April, early May. For the dam removal project, the contractor returned on site the week of March 9th to perform a few days of maintenance work. There was some buildup of sediment along the channel breach in the upper dam, so we spent a few days moving that material out of there. And really, I think for all intents and purposes, they won't be back. I think we're pretty much done with the contractor. The follow-up private well testing, we've sent notices to the 6 remaining property owners that did not participate last fall, and try and get them to participate in the private well testing, which is free to them.
Excuse me, Steve, do we
Yes.
still owe money to LEI for the dams to close out?
Yeah, the project, it hasn't been completely closed out yet, so we'll receive a final invoice.
Okay, but that hasn't happened yet.
That hasn't happened yet. And work on the Shack Factory pipeline continues, and we expect to have permit documents completed and applications submitted in late April, early May.
Excuse me, Steve.
Yeah.
Is there even a very preliminary estimate as to how much that would cost?
The shed
Yeah.
removal, million plus.
Yeah, I'm sure, okay. I wasn't sure if we had anything that is some
Yeah, we're
historical document or something.
we're working with Save the Bay. I mean, they were extremely helpful in securing grant funding for the dam removal project, so we're doing the same for the Shad pipeline project. And then with respect to the property in Swansea, we made an award to Peter Scotty Associates for $11,500 to prepare 3 appraisal reports, and I hope to get those sometime next month. Upon receipt, so we'll be meeting with the properties committee to review and go over and go from there.
Have you heard any more from Swansea relative to what's that offer?
Still interested.
Okay. Well, they have to come forward with an
No.
offer of anything, or
No.
just interested?
Correct.
Okay.
For the lead service line replacement program, provided the chart. Nothing too outstanding there. But the DOH subcontractor, Rural Water Association, has commenced reach out activities to customers that are within what we call the service line validation pool. So about 400 notices went out, and we need to validate 20%, which equates to 380 of presumed non-lead service lines. So I think they made like 50 inspections out of the 400 customers that were notified to date.
Thanks for putting me on the list, by the way.
Did you get an inspection done?
I called them, they took them a few days to get back to me, so we're playing phone tag.
Okay.
So,
You know how it goes. The water pressure charts are provided. Interesting that the month of February was one of the highest it's been over the past 5 years. 6% of the prior 5-year average. It really stands out on the chart, you can see.
was that a result of blizzard?
You know, it also follows the months of January and December, which are both fairly high as well. Joe attributes it to the Super Bowl run of the Patriots. People were home. I don't know. Maybe people were home more this winter than normal. We don't know.
school.
Something.
That has shown to be the case in other communities around the country.
Big fires.
Capital improvement project summary chart. No significant work has taken place over the past month. Fountain Avenue tank, with DOH's approval, we are going to be scheduling soon to disconnect the tank from the distribution system by removing a section of pipe. And then for public information, I have attached the customer letter that will go out to all customers' water bills regarding the water rate increase and kind of give customers updates on BCWA's projects and programs. And this past middle of this month, March 16th to 22nd, was EPA's annual Fix a Leak Week, and we posted information on our website and Facebook page. The information provides customers how to correct household water leaks. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Mike, anything you want to add?
Not too much to add. We're fortunate to be out of the ferocity of what winter was this year with regards to breaks. So, and then we're entering into construction season. So a lot of housekeeping this past month. A lot of paving, just managing the restoration and recovery from all the breaks. Also got started on one of the gravel bins, the covers for that, to maintain our gravel, but not much else. Included a couple pictures in there. One of them being an example of the bell joint failures that people were noticing going up and down that account. So that's what it looks like before we encapsulate it. So that's why we're not too concerned with the condition of the pipe. If they're really isolated, they're small, and they're contained to just the bell of the pipe, not the spigot of the other pipe. So it's just a portion of it. We encapsulate it and move on.
How did you know that this particular hydrant had failed since the snow was so deep in the...
So if you notice the puddle and the hole in front of it,
Right.
that's from the flowing water.
There was
Also,
I could tell you what happened.
we got a phone call right away from somebody that lost water.
I can tell you what happened. It was Saturday, mid-morning, and I hit my faucet and noticed there was a trickle coming out. And so I made a couple of phone calls, and then I took a ride down the street, and I saw the water just running down the street, and our guy was already there, tending to the hydrant. This was this was a corner hydrant. It was buried in a huge snow pile. The DPW was out clearing piles, did not know the hydrant was underneath the piles.
So they moved the hydrant.
Correct. Accidentally hit the hydrant. But it was amazing how the area that is knocking this hydrant down and the loss of water, the impact. My phone started blowing up on my neighbors. Like, what's going on with the water? I know immediately. And I was hearing from people, in the same general area, but quite a few streets away. It was, but it was resolved. They closed the hydrant valve, and within half an hour, it was all restored. And then they went back and fixed the hydrant on Monday.
Could you, a brief explanation of the other situation that's shown in the photograph there, provide an explanation, but I'm not sure I understand it. That the operator is installing an encapsulation sleeve to mitigate the impacts of depressurizing the water system in the vicinity of the leak. So what is this sleeve, and why would there be a impact from depressurizing?
So it mitigates the depressurization. So conventionally, in order to make that repair, we would have to isolate the pipe, turn valves off, and in portions of that, that means significant stretches of water. So we turn it off, take the pressure off it. We cut it and drain it, and that can take, for a pipe like that, at that length, can take like 3-4 hours to drain all the water out. And then we would spool in a new piece, couple it in, repressurize it, flush it out, and restore it to service. So by maintaining pressure, encapsulating it, we mitigate all that and interruption. And in some areas, we can do it. Not a lot of customers. Where these were happening, in that commercial area, very, very challenging to turn people off. So we try not to do that there, so.
Thank you. Colin?
So, the biggest thing I have is we have the bid opening on March 12th for this year's capital improvement project. We got 2 bids, one from Boyle Fogarty and one from Ducon, and you can see the results of those in the table there. And then our recommendation of the acceptance of Boyle Fogarty's bid is in a subsequent memo. No big updates with Boyle Fogarty's the past year's capital improvement project or Ducon's. Pretty much status quo there. And then that's pretty much it. There's just miscellaneous projects, but there's no real developments on that due to the weather.
Thank you. Move on to financial report. Dan?
All right. This is the pre-audit statement. I'm working on the extra work that I do for the audit now. So this is the pre-audit stuff. If we look at February versus February, not much change. Revenue's pretty flat versus last year, it's down a little bit. Expenses are up a little bit, about 5.5% for the month. It looks like it's quick because it's a lot of little increases that offset the decreases, because I usually look at the 3 big things and I ignored depreciation after the first month or 2. And all the big things were decreases. You know, professional fees were lower for the month. Utilities expense looks like it was lower for the month, and operations was lower. So all those little over budgets or higher than last year's were offset by those decreases. And the utilities looks weird. When I first saw that, I did something up with that. You might not remember, but last February or so, we got a bill for the Hope Street pump station for like, I don't know, 10 months. They never bothered to send us a bill. So that's all got dumped into last February. So that's why February looks like it's, you know, the utilities is down a lot. And the other thing I just wanted to mention was on this February versus February, you'll see below net ordinary income, bunch of stuff that I don't usually go over too much during the year. Miscellaneous income also has this $462,000. That might get shuffled around a little bit. About talk to the auditors where they want to put it. That's basically the write-off of the previous allowance for North Farm. So over the years, every year I would adjust the allowance up to account for the entire balance. Well, they paid for almost all of it. So that allowance had to go away. So I had expensed it in the past, and I have to report it as income. So right now it's sitting down in miscellaneous income. I'll talk to the auditors where they want to put it. We didn't really have any other account that seemed reasonable. Didn't seem to make much sense putting it above the line with the water sales and stuff like that. So, moving on to through February, revenue's up a little bit, 4.1% for the year. This is the same as last month. There hasn't been too much change for February. This is due to the rate increase and a little over 0.5% increase in consumption for the year. The expenses through February are 3.23% higher, and it's the same items that are a little higher. Admin wages, the raises given, and there was an open position last year. Professional fees are up. due to some additional legal fees with the resolution of northbound, thank you, some engineering fees, and those offset the decrease in purchases of water for the year. Go to page 6 with the actual to budget. We're over budget for now, 12.33% for revenue, which is good. Expenses are under budget, 7.27%. The three big items there were administrative expenses, professional fees, and water. Administrative expenses are under budget due to the change in the pension amount. The actual contribution we had to put in was lower than what we had budgeted. We don't get those numbers until well after the budget or way before the budget, depending how you look at it. Professional fees were a little bit lower. We capitalized some of the, or we're gonna capitalize some of the engineering costs for the new ops building. And water was down due to consumption being a little bit lower than what we budgeted for the year. We get to pages 7 and 9, the dollars billed and gallons delivered. Kind of drives right along with the revenue that you saw. Dollars billed were up 4.22%, and there was a slight increase in consumption. Thank you to the Patriots playoff run. Page 10 is that trust fund report. We show a debt service ratio of 10.34. Again, this is pre-audit. I do have some extra adjustments and that I make at the end of the year for the audit, like depreciation and a couple of others that haven't been accounted for yet. Page 11 is the pension report. We have an increase of the month of $1,400. And for the year, it's up $219,000. And as of the end of the month, it's at 12.129 million. And I have the OPEB summary report for informational purposes, and that, as of February 28th, is just over 2.3 million. Working on the numbers for the audit. Like I said, there's some additional adjustments that I usually just make at the end of the year. I'm working on that. The audit's scheduled about a week earlier. And that's all.
Yeah, one question on page 6.
Page 6, yep.
The water revenue, we had the rate increase, a relatively small year-over-year usage increase, but it's pretty sizable budget variance. Is that just conservative budgeting?
Yeah, we budget conservatively. Yep. Just because it swings so much. I've sat there and I've tried to chart it out and it's too crazy. I mean, Steve mentioned it on the meeting in the past when I've been on the board. Then it just can fluctuate by so many different reasons. We are on the side of being conservative on that end, and
Okay, thank you, that's what I thought, okay.
Thanks, Dan. Any reports from town council or anything like that? I just want to make a general observation or comment that I assume everybody gets, as I do, but I got the ethics form in and it's due by April 24th. So if you didn't get it in, you should go to their webpage. I should go to the webpage anyway and file it that way because that's the easiest way to file it.
It's basically not going to door.
Mine's in registered mail. Whoa, don't fool around. That's what they find you for, not filing.
Right.
They don't care if you steal, just.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda has to do with the Finance Committee.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Gross.
Of course. So we met on, what day did we met? March 11th. And we discussed a variety array of topics. We talked about the investment policy currently in place, and Dan's going to already reached out to US Bank. They already had a meeting, and they're going to find us a little bit better of a product for us to park our money that we set aside relative to the Pawtucket pipeline extension. So since that project is still going through permitting, we figure we can put that money into a longer life asset, and that way it gets a more favorable return. The second item we talk about, which is on here, is the pension plan. So we noted last year during the audit, at the conclusion of the audit, that there's a 94.5% funded status for that pension plan. So we talked about pursuing whether we should close the plan or not. That way we're no longer obligated to make those pension plan payments, and we could just put it into an annuity, and then that just gets resolved from our books. The third item we talked about was related to the purchasing policy. Steve did an update of the purchasing policy. It hasn't been updated for numerous years, and we sort of just changed some of the levels which require board approval, as well as like the needing of additional quotes, as well as some additional wording in there related to federal and state grant awards. And then the fourth item we talked about was OPEB, and potentially getting the actuary to come in to present to us so we can kind of decide as a board what the plan is going to be for the OPEB plan going forward. If we want to fund that more, when are we going to start using some of the balance to pay for retiree benefits, etc.
Okay, we have some,
And we have two things to vote on, which
right,
the chairman can handle.
Mr. Chair,
purchase.
want to discuss my memo?
The pension fund.
Right, I
Yeah.
have that one.
The purchasing, was it? But there were no handouts for the, we didn't have any other handouts, it was just these handouts for section 7.
Something else, right? It's still too quiet.
Oh, the purchasing one, right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let's see now. Okay, the first item that's on the agenda is the pension plan. Is there any more discussion that's needed?
Yeah, I'd like to just, I provided a memo to the board, and this is very similar to the memo I had provided to the Finance Committee at the meeting on March 11th. But I was at a meeting back in October 22nd of the Finance Committee, and that's when the committee inquired about potentially rolling the plan into investment or insurance company, which effectively closes out the plan and eliminates the pension liability. So just to let everyone know, we have, there are 16 people remaining in the plan. We have 12 retirees that are currently collecting an annuity. And then we have 4 active members. Active members meaning 4 active employees remaining. 2 of which are fairly close to retirement age within a couple of years. However, we do have 2 who very long-standing employees, between the 2 of them over 50 years experience, but they still have probably a good 10 to 15 years of work before they get to retirement age. So we met with representatives from NIHAR, DNI, in January and just discussed steps. What would it take to close out the plan, and they note that the pension account is well funded, as Director Gross had noted, to around $4 million. The overall liability is approximately $4.5 million. And to close out the plan, NIHAR, it would go and seek out an insurance company, kind of to take over the funds and basically turn all these into annuities for the retirees. There will be upfront costs to the authority associated with this. It would cost $20,000 to $25,000 for NIHAR to do the work. and then upfront costs for the insurance company to establish that, those funding accounts. But, you know, what happens to close out the plan, you don't no longer have the pension liability in the books, no fees associated with managing the pension plan, no audit fees, and there's no additional fees to this, the insurance company. Obviously, we have to notify all the plan participants. They're typically given 60, 90 days to review the forms. What we were told that the current pensioners could continue taking their annuity or possibly even take a lump sum and they'd then be done. But we're not quite certain as to you know, how the current employees are finally kind of paid out or closed out. So we're still, that's to be determined, and we don't have that information exactly from NIHART as of yet. And we'd also need, I guess, union approval for the remaining employees that work to accept this transition. So we discussed it at the March 11th Finance Committee, and so the committee discussed it and recommended that the item be presented to the board for consideration. And I asked whether we continue forward, or do we want more information?
So what's being recommended here are the bulleted items in the memo, and that defines a plan that will be put in motion if the board approves it. And so we're looking for a motion to approve the actions that are outlined in Steve's memo of the 18th. Is there a motion?
Well, I have a question. When we talk,
Let's go through the process.
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion, have a second.
second,
We have a second. Any further discussion? John?
that 90-some% that's funded, where is that actually? Where is that money actually?
Washington Trust. Washington Trust holds those funds.
And what would happen to that if we,
They would spin it off, like Steve mentioned, they would get an insurance company, they would create an annuity, and all those funds would be distributed to the different annuities and basically spun out completely, so we no longer have account with Washington Trust for the pension.
Yes, the insurance company's now on the hook. And the biggest case, we just want to make sure we have a highly rated insurance company, so they're going to be around for the entirety of the time that these folks need to be paid out.
But we're not making like a formal decision right now. Essentially, we're just asking if we want to move forward with looking into this.
I have a question, because I don't know. The people that you said are the longest term to remain, would this going forward plan cover them?
That's what we want to see.
But I mean, is that gonna be the final thing from the insurance company that says, if these people all go to their max term, will they be covered with their annuity to do this? So that would be my question.
Right, and that's their question as well.
Okay, so does that mean then
That's the
that
question,
we
yeah.
really can't take an action tonight, we need more information?
Well, we just want to go forward, I guess.
Well, we're not approving like the dissolution of the pension plan or anything. We're just letting Steve know to give him a direction of whether to pursue looking into this more or not to look into it at all and just stop.
how many retirees do we have that didn't take a lump sum?
What did you say, 16?
Well, that many.
12. Actually, 12.
Well, let me go back to, do we need to approve any motion here tonight? Do you need any
Well,
official guidance?
I
It would seem you could move forward with this, get more information, and then come back for formal approval of what the final.
Well, I guess that's what I'm looking for. Do you want us to look forward, or do you want to just end it?
Well, I think we have a motion and a second to go forward, so.
Okay.
But not to approve the dissolution of the pension plan.
Correct.
Okay, that's good clarification. Any other comments, questions before we take a vote? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of moving forward with the plan that's recommended in this memo? say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, the ayes have it. The second item here has to do with the other memo from Steve, is proposed revisions to the Bristol County Water Authority purchasing policy. Steve outlined presentation, the discussion that was made at the Finance Committee, and that memo also shows 4 bulleted items that would be the subject of a motion. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve this.
And have a
Second.
second? Okay, any discussion?
I have a question.
Questions?
Because this sort of puts you into the state and whatever federal purchasing world. How do we adapt that if they change? If the state changes their policy for purchasing, as well as the federal government that we have in here, state purchases and stuff, how do we adapt those each time they come out?
Well, I don't think we adopt them word for word, right? I mean, we follow the guidelines of, if you look at the first sentence of our purchasing policy, we comply with the spirit and intent of chapter 37-2 of the state Rhode Island general laws. And so any significant changes that were made, which there were with respect to some limits on competitive sealed bidding, those are changed. So,
I guess my question is like the Title 37, as they change, how do we mirror what they're doing and make sure that we don't?
As you go into the future, you said.
I just.
I would assume it's a basic thing of the state legislature, it passes changes to the general laws. The rules and regulations are adopted by the state regulatory agencies. We get notice of such, and we have to make changes. And I'll ask our attorney if that's basically a good summation.
I mean, it's really, it's incumbent upon us to stay abreast of changes in rules and regulations, whether it be purchasing policy, changes in rules and regulations to DOH with respect to water, so.
I'm good.
Okay, any other questions, comments, stories? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes are both members. Next item on the agenda is regarding agricultural land lease for haying fields. There's a memo that's...
Make a motion that we approve the memo of 19 March.
Second, we have a motion to approve, and it's been seconded. Any comments?
One question, I guess. $4,600, what's the particular reason why the board has to approve it? Because it's so small.
It's use of our land.
How's that old saying? That's the way it's always been done?
See, I never liked that answer.
That's what it is. It's same as last year.
I don't have a problem with this, but I guess I'd say for things, we just looked at the purchasing policy and we kind of raised the level,
Right.
you know, of things that we need to look at. This one, I had a similar question, just on the other side of the ledger.
I think it's not really as much as the amount that we're receiving, but the fact that it's a property lease.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I recognize that's the same one year in, year out. And there's also been discussion as to why do we do this every year? And even Mr. Ferris himself is like, hey, can we do this for 3 years, 5 years?
I ask that question every year.
And I guess my only thing is that, you know, I think until, because we're still discussing about what we're going to do with the properties.
Yeah.
rather than hold it up for a period of time. It's a little bit of paperwork, but Mr. Ferguson does a very good job.
This lease would be with Farish Farm and paid to the Bristol County Water Authority at $385 per month, beginning April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2027, for a total of $45,620. Now, I'd also like to call your attention to the letter that Mr. Farish included with his bids, which I think is a really great summation of what they do and how they do it, and their thinking behind maintaining the property for us. I'm not going to read it, but it is worth reading. So, all those in favor, any other discussion, questions, comments, thoughts? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Here and now. Moving on to item 9, the 2026 Water Main Improvement Program Contract Award. Steve?
Yes, as Colin had mentioned earlier, we go out to bid for the 2026 Water Main Improvement Program. First I want to say, I guess, Colin and under the direction of Mike, they do a really nice job in putting together and we do this all in-house, the plan sets for these Water Main Improvement Program. Very professional looking plan sets and project spec documents. It allows us to get, I think, good pricing from contractors. So, but anyways, we did get 2 bids, and why just 2 bids? I mean, there's just not a lot of people that do this kind of work anymore, unfortunately. At this size of project, but we did get from the 2 reputable contractors, Boyle and Fogarty and Ducon. Boyle and Fogarty providing the lowest responsive bid price. Colin provided a very detailed memo with all the bid units. You did notice one discrepancy that we corrected. So in the end, we're recommending their base bid price along with the alternate for the paving for a total of $3,243,233. And then along with these details, inspection and contingency for a recommended overall project budget be approved for $3.8 million. The work is going to be taking place. It's pretty much a follow-up from the work that we did last year. When we did the work on Child Street on this end, did notice that the pipe on Child Street needed cleaning work. So this is kind of an extension of that project. It means all the Child Street main here up to Metacom Avenue, and then goes up Metacom a little bit, and also up Picking Road. So it's quite a bit of cleaning and lining work. Also installing gate valves and renewing 65 water services in the project area. So recommending approval of these bids as provided.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comments, questions?
A question, how do you coordinate with the gas company? It seems to be everywhere.
Yes, good point. So staff has met with the gas company in the town at the same time. And they're going to be working in the same general area as well. It's my understanding after our work?
Yes.
After our work, okay.
They're going to be done someday?
But, so the alternate paving number that we have here contemplates us completely doing all the paving. However, then there will be probably an opportunity to cost share in the final paving with the Rhode Island Energy. Because we're going to be doing our work, they're going to be doing their work. We're both going to be on the hook for repaving the roadway. So we've already had some preliminary discussions with them on that.
Do the contractors pay the police directly, or do we pay?
We pay them directly. the police number is going to be significant in this project.
The only comment I'll make is that there's the perennial confusion between calendar and fiscal years. It's the 2026 program that's being done in the fiscal year 27 capital budget.
Correct.
I understand it all. But it's just one of those confusions.
You gonna have a vote?
Well, yes, we're gonna have one.
We're just excited.
Good. The motion to approve this project with the total bid price of the $3.242 million. The total project cost of $3.8 million is on the table. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. And we move on to item 10, the task order for engineering inspection services for
So a couple,
2026 construction projects.
so coupled with the project that was just approved, we have engineering services provided by PAR to provide a full-time inspector on the project to ensure that work is done according to plans. They estimated, very conservatively, 40 hours, 40 hours from April to December. And that comes to a total not to exceed number of $222,500.
So moved.
Second.
Second, do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The next item on the agenda has to do with the date of the May meeting. Meeting, it's proposed that the meeting be changed to May 21st, a week earlier than normal due to some conflicts. Do we have a motion to?
I will have a conflict on the 21st. In the past, when we made the move, it's been to the Wednesday rather than the prior Thursday.
Let's get a motion on the table first.
So moved.
Motion. Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a conflict and a proposal to move the meeting to a Wednesday. Turn to administration and say, how's Wednesday look? Turn to board members and say,
May
how's
27th?
Wednesday look? What's that?
May 27th.
Or the Wednesday of the prior week.
So May 20th or May 27th?
Yeah,
I have a conflict on May 20th.
which night?
May 20th.
Okay. So you have a conflict on the 20th, you have a conflict on the 21st. On the
Oh, right, yes.
21st.
Yeah.
And we're not having the meeting on the 28th because there's other conflicts.
So
If someone comes back to the
27th.
27th, how's that look on everybody's calendar?
Works for you, Steve?
Any, that would be May. So that would be May 27th. Any problems? Hearing no problems? Okay, all those in favor of moving the meeting up?
Should I amend my motion to say be May 27th?
Yes, you should.
Can I amend my motion to be May 27th?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor of moving it to the 27th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. No opposed. Okey-dokey.
That's a Wednesday?
That's a Wednesday. All right. The next scheduled meeting is April 23rd. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What's that?